Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another horror movie night. Tonight, I will be reviewing Phantasm IV: Oblivion, released in 1998. Written and directed by Don Coscarelli, starring Angus Scrimm, A. Michael Baldwin, Reggie Bannister, Bill Thornbury, Bob Ivy, and Heidi Marnhout. Now, as you can see with my previous reviews for this film series, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this series. I absolutely adore Phantasm and Phantasm II. I think they're both great, as you can see in my reviews for those films. But with Phantasm III, it was unnecessary. And this film is basically kind of the same thing. I mean, it is Don Coscarelli doing what the studio is wanting him to do, come out. Thankfully, Universal did drop this franchise now, so they were a... to me, a lot of respects, they helped to make Phantasm 2 what it is, but at the same time, they made the demands of Coscarelli to make the third film and really kind of screw up the continuity that we had with the second one. And without James LeGros to continue into the third film and bringing back A. Michael Baldwin, it really did cause the series to suffer. And I put that on Universal because they put in the mandate to put in James LeGros as the replacement, and instead they just put him in there, had him do another film, and yet they didn't give him near as high of a budget, and then they just allowed him to bring back A. Michael Baldwin to screw up the character of Mike, in my opinion. So, this is no different. A. Michael Baldwin is just as egregious with his bad portrayal in this film as he was in 3. He hasn't really improved too much. I mean, he's a little bit better in this one, but not by much. And the whole Bill Thornbury thing, I mean, it's bad enough that I didn't even give a shit about it to even mention it in my previous review for the third film. But he was at least portrayed as this good guy that was in a sphere and everything. This film basically turns that around and makes him... He's been manipulating Mike all this time, and he is an evil character. After all, why bring back Bill Thornbury? I mean, there was no reason for it, and it just hurts the franchise. The backbone of this series, by this point, had become Reggie Bannister. But this film just basically reuses stuff that we've seen in previous films, like introducing this demonic trooper in this that is from another film. This character was just a ripoff of a better done character in Highway to Hell. And, you know, although I don't hold this against Bob Ivy for playing this demon trooper in here, and, you know, getting to see Reggie get tossed around by this character, it's just, it doesn't belong in the Phantasm franchise. It's like Don Coscarelli took something that worked in another film and threw it into this film, and it just doesn't work in a Phantasm film. And then you get the introduction to Heidi Marnhout's character as Jennifer. And this could have been a moment where you could have gotten a really good love interest for Reggie in here. But, once again, Don Coscarelli had to turn that character into just some evil manipulation from the tall man. in here. And while we're on the tall man, I mean, Angus Scrimm is pretty damn good still. Him and Reggie were the backbone of this series. Whereas Reggie became your Ash, basically, of this franchise. The tall man's just, he wasn't given as much to do in these later films, probably because of the aging of Angus and him not being able to do as much physically, to where he's just going to be on the sidelines, and that's the reason we have this demonic trooper, possibly, but whatever. But poor Heidi Marnhout, I mean, she just doesn't get any good service in these horror films. I mean, I reviewed a previous movie with her in it, and she got a disservice in that one too by being turned into a zombie. And here she's just a manipulative device used by the tall man. And it's a discredit to her as an actress. I think she could have really been an interesting character for this film, and it would have made this film a much better film if that had been done. But the way they did her is just awful. Awful. So, here we go. My final review of Phantasm IV, Oblivion. I'm going to give this film a 6.2 out of 10. This is like the bottom of the barrel for this series. But I will tell you this. I will not be covering Phantasm V Ravager on this channel, because you know what? I don't consider that canon with this whole series at all, due to the fact that it wasn't supposed to be a actual continuation of the Don Coscarelli series. It was basically a series of web series that these people made, and they asked Don Coscarelli if they had the right, they could, have the rights to do it for this web series. And he said, okay, you go ahead. But he had nothing to do with it. And, and then them editing this web series together for this mess of a film, I do not consider it a part of this franchise. So I will not be covering it on the channel. But what do you think of Phantasm IV Oblivion? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes up, it will go up for all Plus members to view prior to it coming up for all other subscribers. So, if you want to get interactive and help us to get more reviews on here other than the ones that I already have on the schedule, become a member. Well, that's it for another horror movie night. If you missed last week's horror movie night video, you can check it out in the link above. Or if you have missed any of our videos on Horror Movie Night, check out this playlist and you can check out anything that you've missed.